I'm still trying to process the whirlwind of emotions I felt during the birth of our first child. What should have been a joyful moment turned into a nightmare. I'm 30 years old, and my husband, Tom, is 32. We've always had a strong relationship, but his overbearing mother, Linda, has been a constant source of tension. She has a habit of inserting herself into our lives, and I've learned to tolerate it. But what happened in the delivery room crossed a line. We had discussed and agreed upon a birth plan, just Tom and I in the delivery room, no one else. I wanted a private, intimate experience, and Tom assured me he understood. But when I went into labor, Tom showed up at the hospital with Linda in tow. I was shocked, hurt, and already stressed from the contractions. I couldn't believe he would bring his mom without discussing it with me first. I still remember the excitement and anticipation I felt during my pregnancy. Tom and I had been waiting for this moment for years, and we were finally going to meet our little one. But as soon as I went into labor, everything changed. Tom's behavior caught me off guard, and I felt like my world was turned upside down. Tom and I have always been a team, supporting each other through thick and thin. But his mother, Linda, has always been a point of contention in our relationship. She means well, but she has a tendency to overstep boundaries and insert herself into our lives. I've tried to be understanding and patient, but it's taken a toll on me. I never thought Linda's behavior would affect our special moment, though. I assumed Tom would prioritize me and our baby, but instead, he brought his mom into the delivery room without even asking me. I felt betrayed, hurt, and angry all at once. The tension between us was palpable, and I couldn't believe our special moment was being ruined like this. I had made it crystal clear to Tom that I wanted a private and intimate experience in the delivery room. Just the two of us, focusing on bringing our baby into the world. I had envisioned this moment for months, and the thought of having anyone else there made me anxious. But when the big day arrived, Tom completely disregarded my wishes. I was already in a vulnerable state, dealing with intense contractions and trying to stay focused. And then I saw them walk in, Tom and his mom, Linda. I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Tom tried to downplay the situation, saying Linda was just excited to meet the baby. But I knew better. I knew she had a history of overstepping, and this was just another example. I was furious, but I tried to remain calm, thinking maybe Tom would realize his mistake and ask her to leave. But he just stood there, smiling and oblivious to my distress. Things only got worse from there. Linda didn't just stand in the corner and observe. She made herself right at home. She pulled up a chair, started adjusting the monitors, and began offering me unsolicited advice on breathing techniques, positioning, and pain management. I was taken aback by her audacity. I tried to politely tell her I had it under control, but she just wouldn't take the hint. She kept talking, kept interfering, and kept making me feel like I was losing control of my own body. I was already stressed and overwhelmed, and her constant meddling was pushing me to the edge. And Tom, he just stood there, nodding along with his mom, saying she was just trying to help, like I was some kind of fragile, incompetent person who couldn't even give birth without their expertise. It felt like a betrayal, like he was choosing his mom's side over mine. I started to wonder if he even cared about my feelings, or if he was just trying to appease his mom. The final straw came when Linda started telling me to push harder and do it right. I felt like I was being scolded, belittled, and disrespected in the most vulnerable moment of my life. I looked at Tom, expecting him to stand up for me, but he just stood there, frozen. That's when I lost it. I snapped. I told Tom that if he couldn't respect my wishes, if he couldn't prioritize me and our baby, then he needed to leave, and he needed to take his mom with him. I was furious, my voice shaking with anger and hurt. Tom looked shocked, like he couldn't believe I was kicking him out, but I was dead serious. I demanded that they both get out of the delivery room, out of my sight. Tom tried to argue, saying something about, but mom just wants to help, but I wasn't having it. Luckily, the nurses stepped in, sensing the tension and chaos. They firmly but politely asked Tom and Linda to leave the room, citing hospital policy and my right to a peaceful environment. Tom looked like he was about to argue, but the nurses stood firm. Finally, they both left, and I was able to focus on bringing our baby into the world in peace. Now, in the aftermath of the delivery, Tom is giving me the cold shoulder. He's furious with me, saying I ruined the birth experience for him and his mom. Like I'm the villain for standing up for myself and my baby. He's been sulking, barely speaking to me, and when he does, it's to blame me for his mom's hurt feelings. And Linda? She's been playing the victim card masterfully. She's telling everyone who will listen about how I kicked her out of the delivery room, how I was cruel and heartless. She's painting herself as the poor, innocent grandma who just wanted to support her son and meet her new grandchild. It's a masterclass in manipulation. Even some of my in-laws are buying into her act, saying I was too harsh, too controlling. They're telling me I should have just let her stay, that I'm depriving her of her grandchild. Like I'm the one who's being unreasonable. It's infuriating. They don't get it. This wasn't about keeping her from her grandchild. It was about standing up for myself and my baby in a moment when I needed support, not interference. I'm still trying to process everything that happened. On one hand, I feel like I had every right to want privacy and my husband's undivided support during such a vulnerable moment. Giving birth is a raw, emotional experience, and I needed Tom to be fully present for me. I didn't need his mom's opinions, her judgment, or her drama. But now, the family drama is spiraling out of control. Tom's still barely speaking to me. Linda's playing the victim, and some of my in-laws are taking her side. I'm starting to second-guess myself, wondering if I overreacted or if I was too harsh. Maybe I should have just let her stay. Maybe I should have been more understanding. But then I think back to that moment, to how I felt when they walked in, and I know I did what I needed to do. I stood up for myself, for my baby, and for our special moment. I didn't let fear or guilt dictate my actions. I took control, and I said what needed to be said. So Ada, am I the asshole for kicking my husband and his mom out of the delivery room? I don't think so. I think I was justified in setting boundaries, in prioritizing my own needs and my baby's needs. I hope that someday Tom and his family will understand that. Story 2. Feeling lost mid-30s. Feeling lost in my mid-30s is a sensation I never thought I'd experience. I always assumed I'd have my life together by now, a successful career, a loving family, and a sense of purpose. But the truth is, I'm just trying to survive each day. I feel like I'm drifting aimlessly, without a clear direction or goal in sight. It's like being stuck in a fog, unable to see what's ahead or find my way back to solid ground. I'm not sure how I got here or how to escape this feeling of being lost. I'm constantly struggling to find my path in life, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Every day feels like a battle to discover my purpose, my passion, my reason for being. I'm searching for that spark that sets my soul on fire, but it's nowhere to be found. On the surface, my life looks okay. I have a roof over my head, a steady income, and basic needs met. But scratch beneath the surface and it's a different story. Life just feels blah. It's like a dull, gray fog that follows me everywhere, sucking the joy out of everything. I'm going through the motions, pretending to be happy, but deep down, I'm crying out for more. I feel like I'm constantly pivoting, trying to find my footing on shaky ground. It's like being on a balance beam where one wrong move sends me tumbling. And to make matters worse, I'm living in the shadow of my twin brother. We're like two sides of the same coin, except his side seems to be gleaming with success, while mine is tarnished with uncertainty. It's hard not to compare myself to him, to measure my accomplishments against his. Society and our family don't help, always drawing parallels between us. Always asking, why can't you be more like him? The pressure is suffocating, making me feel like I'm constantly trying to prove myself, to emerge from his shadow and forge my own path. I'm a creative person, always have been. I thrive on imagination, innovation, and self-expression. But the problem is, the world doesn't always appreciate creativity. It wants to put me in a box, label me, and expect me to conform. I've tried to fit into those boxes, I really have. But it's like trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work. So I've taken a leap of faith and jumped from one career to another, one that's more hands-on, more tactile, more me. It doesn't pay well, not by a long shot, but it feeds my soul in a way that no amount of money can. I'm finally doing something that makes me happy, something that lets me express myself freely. But of course, that's not without its own set of challenges. Still, despite finding a career that brings me joy, I can't help but feel like my decisions have made my life more challenging than it needs to be. My brother, on the other hand, seems to effortlessly glide through life, getting what he wants with ease. He's like a hot knife through butter, while I'm like a blunt spoon trying to scrape out a living. I'm constantly struggling to keep up, to measure up, to be enough. It's exhausting, trying to prove myself, trying to show the world that I'm worthy, that I'm more than just the other twin. But no matter how hard I try, I feel like I'm always one step behind, like I'm running a race I can never win. It's a frustrating, demoralizing feeling, like being stuck in quicksand, unable to escape the constant comparison to my brother's seemingly perfect life.